Irashaimase. Hello and welcome to Fataris' Kitchen. I'm your host, Chef Fataris. It's time once again for Shoot 'em Up Saturday, and on the menu this week we have SHINORUBI, colorful bullet hell action. What kind of taste will it have? Let's get cooking and find out. From developer Last Boss 88, SHINORUBI originally released for the PC in January of 2022 via Steam Early Access. Now in January of 2024, it's available on the consoles, the Xbox One and the Xbox Series, the PlayStations 4 and 5, and the Nintendo Switch, which is the version we're looking at today. So this is a title I've had a lot of fun with so far, despite my short time with it. It's only come out about 24 hours ago on the Nintendo Switch. So it's one that I would recommend, with one particular caveat. You have to be able to adapt to the screen orientation here. This is a vertical scrolling shoot 'em up, but instead of being a Tate presentation, it's a widescreen and it feels a little cramped. That said, it does have some great variety in game modes and replayability with all the various pilots and scoring options that you have in this game itself. So if you're one that likes score attacking bullet hell, then I highly encourage you to check this title out. Diving into the main menu, so here we find the original game. So this is your main game mode here, and we have all 5 of the difficulties available on this one particular presentation. In the top left, we can also see if we've completed those particular modes and even one CC'd it. So that's one thing that you can appreciate from a presentation standpoint. But in addition to this, we have these extra modes. So we've got 3 different difficulties of Boss Rush, as well as 2 caravan modes that we can play through, a 2-minute version and a 5-minute version. So that's a lot of fun there and some great things to see in a shoot 'em up. But that's not all. We also have all these arrange modes. Basically they take up the gameplay itself and kind of remix the rules. There's one that's a fun bullet graze mode, that's what the scratch mode is. One where you've got a shield that will block the bullets and allow you to score big points that way. And the super fun pink pig mode where we're collecting these pigs for high scores. So the creativity here is top notch as well as the variety. So there's a lot to keep you coming back for and trying with the gameplay itself. Like I said, lots of replayability. We're going to show off the game in the super easy mode though, in the original game, just to kind of give you an idea of what kind of gameplay is on display here in SHINORUBI. Initially, after selecting your mode, we're taken to this screen here which gives you a description of your chosen game mode, and then we can dive into the character select, and here's where we see a lot more of the game's replayability. So we have 8 different pilots we can choose between, each with different power levels and speed, as well as shot patterns and even size. So if you do pick this one up, try out Boombi, you'll be amused for sure. But for our purposes today, we're going to go with basically the default Gamma Ray. So Gamma Ray has even stats and a really kind of standard bullet hell shot pattern. Starting the game, as far as the base gameplay is concerned, if you've played other bullet hell shoot 'em ups, then you know what to expect here. Our initial shot is this auto shot, and you don't have to worry about power levels in this one. You're always at full power. Your auto shot for most of the ships will do an excellent job covering most of the screen as far as being able to take out the enemies. In addition to that, we also have a focus fire. Or laser, if you will, depending on how you want to refer to it. So this basically focuses our fire down onto a more narrow point, and it deals significant damage. In addition to that, it also gives us some focused movement. What does that mean? It means we move a little bit slower, so it's easier to dodge between bullets. Keep in mind, the only point on the ship where we're vulnerable is that pink diamond in the middle of our fighter, so if we, just as long as we don't get hit there, we're in great shape. In addition to being able to deal some really focused damage, the laser also has one other feature. So there's a fever gauge at the top of the screen, and as we defeat or hit enemies with the laser, we build that fever meter. Once that fever meter is filled, all the bullets on screen will be cleared, and then our shots will generate tons and tons of bullets. So it's a great way to activate high scores. So as far as the scoring is concerned, I really think the scoring in this game is actually a lot of fun. So we have all these stars that are coming from the enemies as we defeat them. A couple different ways to collect those. If you release your fire, they'll zoom into the ship itself. But if you pass a certain point on the screen, like a lot of other bullet hells, they'll ultimately be sucked into the ship itself. But the main way that we build score is by our hit counter. Not so much a multiplier, but the number of hits that you've dealt. So that will reset if we lose a life or if you use a bomb. So that's one way to keep your life going. As far as the earlier difficulty settings are concerned, there is also an auto bomb feature active. So if we take a hit, it will use up one of our bombs, and will but it actually doesn't use up just one bomb, it uses up all bombs. So now we've activated the fever mode. As you can see, every single shot I hit on this boss, our first stage boss, generates stars. There's also bullet cancel when the boss moves from phase to phase, and this particular boss does have 3 phases. A little bit more damage, and that's it for stage 1. A really great fight, but now we can start talking a little bit about the presentation. So as you can see, everything feels really cramped as far as the presentation is concerned. Even though it's got that vertical scrolling gameplay, everything is super zoomed in, and it just is a kind of a claustrophobic feel for this style of a shoot 'em up. I really wish that there was an option to either be able to zoom things out or play things like Tate. And to be fair, there actually is. There's a different version of SHINORUBI available for the EXA arcade system. However, for an individual collector, getting a copy of that game is prohibitively expensive, so it's a bit disappointing that there is a vertical scrolling Tate presentation for this game, but it's not available on this particular release. So let's hope for maybe the name of that arcade version is Pink Label. So let's go ahead and hope for some Pink Label DLC maybe. That would be wonderful to see, as I think this game is definitely worth being able to pick up a DLC that gives you a different set of range for it. So there you have it, SHINORUBI served up for your enjoyment. As far as my minus flavors are concerned, really the big one is just this screen orientation. It just is too zoomed in, and it feels cramped and claustrophobic. I wish that, if nothing else, that you could just have things, like I said, zoomed out a little bit, or there was more of a Tate approach to everything. But with that said, that's the biggest problem overall. As far as the plus flavors are concerned, I absolutely love all the variety that's on display here. All the various game modes, the ones that I've had the chance to play around with so far, have been a lot of fun, and especially with a bullet hell, one of the sheer points of enjoyment is being able to dive into a game and play around with collecting high scores. And with those various modes, you're doing just that. It feels really, really satisfying. And then you have all the ships that change up the gameplay itself. So we've got our really standard bullet hell ship here with Gamma Ray, but there are some that feel really unique in both their and sometimes tricky with their movement and their just their shot patterns. Then we also have the super fun, colorful visuals. I like that everything is super bright and vibrant. The enemies are all these neon greens and whites. We've got these bright pink and purple shots, and even our shots themselves are a nice shade of aqua blue. So the presentation is spot on. I also really like the mech design. As far as the whole feel of this one, this kind of gives me vibes of something like an MG dev team type shoot 'em up. So if that's kind of a gameplay you're interested in, then this is definitely one that's up your alley. And lastly, I just think that the whole Danmaku, the bullet hell elements that they've developed for this one are really like right on point. So your bullet patterns are all really like great and fun to master and dodge around. The scoring mechanics are really like excellent and would bring you back for replayability, minus the fact that at least on the Switch there is not online leaderboards. I can't speak for the other versions, but that is something to keep in mind. So overall, there we have it. That's SHINORUBI, served up for your enjoyment. If you can deal with the claustrophobic screen presentation, this is a recommend from the chef. Alright, that'll just about wrap it up for this week's episode of Shoot 'em Up Saturday. As always, I want to thank you so much for joining us. I hope you have a wonderful week yourself, and we look forward to seeing you again next time.